All right. Miss Danielle is back again, y'all. And I felt like her video was just a little too short, and we had some technical difficulties, and we had to rig up some better equipment, and we are in that space right now. So I wanted to bring her back and ask her some more questions, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with the living arrangements for a woman on board. Is it any different than the males? Like, do you guys get any special treatment, or it's just pretty much?
Overall, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
If you're on like any like containers or rows or any other types of ships, but the only one that would make a difference is the ATVs. They're coastwise, they're very small, and usually you have to share a room with someone to work on those.
Yeah.
And women usually don't get hired on those because of the fact that they have to get their own room. Like, that's the rule, that women, we have to have our own, like, we can't room with men.
Oh, okay, so y'all have y'all own.
Yeah.
If on any vessel, woman has to have her own room.
Or share with another woman, but there's usually only one woman on board most of the time.
Yeah, especially on the tugboats and the ATVs.
Yeah.
It's a small setting, yeah.
Yeah.
So, how, when you being on like a woman on board, I wanted to go back to that question I asked you on the last interview. Like, you being a woman, you said that sometimes you have to assert yourself as far as like working in the engine room, and the men kind of like overlooking with sharing information or teaching you things. Can you go a little more into detail about that? Share an experience where you had to like really say, hey, I want to learn this, or?
I mean, it depends on the ship, actually. Like, this ship we're on right now is actually really good with it.
Yeah.
They're really good with taking time to show you what they're doing, and like explaining things to you and letting you come along and work with them and learn from them.
Yeah.
But some ships, yeah, like, I get it, like, they just don't like other people around when they're trying to do stuff, and sometimes it's because they're trying to figure out what they're doing. They're trying to read the manual, like, figure out how these pieces go together, and the last thing they want is you standing over their shoulder, like, trying to learn from them. But yeah, so it could just be a learning thing, but I feel like us at the same time, sometimes like they'll walk in and not expect you to work in the engine room and just totally overlook you at your position and just talk over you, unless you just talk up and say, hey, this is my position, this is what I know, I can do this, this, and this, I want to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And then, but you got to actually make sure you let them know.
Right. So, ladies, if you're watching this, like, definitely voice your opinion. Definitely, I was really glad that I ran into you on here, because I like your demeanor, and I definitely wanted to, you come off as a woman that you can ask these questions and get more insight for this platform, for other women to kind of go and get like a better insight, especially about speaking up. You know.
Yeah.
I think it's like almost a double whammy that you're an African American and you're African American woman on board. But you seem to be making your way though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, I noticed out here too, even as a man, when I'm working with other men, they do feel some kind of way if they don't know it. Like, that pride thing, they won't just say, I don't know.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or let's learn together.
Yeah.
Which I tend to take that approach, especially if I'm working with somebody. Like, I'll be like, hey man, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna learn this together.
Yeah.
But you don't get that with a lot of men.
Yeah. It's hard though, because it might not be a gender thing. It might not be because I'm a woman, but it's like you can't tell. And sometimes it is obvious. Like, they don't expect you to be the waiter on here. Like, they'll kind of overlook, like, and you're like, it's me. Like, hello.
Now, being that you come off educated too, and I'm speaking on like the way you carry yourself and you use your words and stuff like that. Now, I found out in my experiences that is intimidating to be able to, because some, not particularly on the ships, because the mates are from schools, they get like higher education for here. But on tugboats, a lot of those guys are not as educated. So have you ever run into like being educated being intimidating for some men?
I don't know. I feel like, well, I will say that sometimes when I try to share something I know about the engine room or any of the components in the engine room, that sometimes they'll try to prove me wrong or say like I'm not right and all this stuff, and I just let it go. Like I just have to let it go because they're not gonna listen. They're not gonna accept that I might know more than them.
Yeah.
And they're gonna take it personal.
Yes.
And I'm like, I can see that's what's happening, so I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Pick your battles.
Yeah, because it's like I feel like they think that I think I'm smarter than them or something.
Yeah.
Where I'm just trying to show off that I'm smarter than them, and I'm like, no, that's not it. I can literally just stop talking right now.
Right.
It's fine. I don't have to win this argument.
That's great advice, man. For real, for real.
Yeah.
As far as the chief engineers that you've worked with, what is to be expected as far as like a working relationship between the licensed and the unlicensed?
Okay, with this it depends on what ship you're on. Too.
Definitely.
Because sometimes, and it depends on how they are taught, because I've heard that at certain schools, the licensed are taught to treat the unlicensed a certain way. Like to treat them like they are less and to expect less from them. And so it is hard because you can kind of see the mentality when you come out here sometimes. You can see that. And then sometimes people just reject it and the officers decide to treat the unlicensed like people.
Right.
So it just depends on what ship you're on, what the officers are like. But you do see it where they sometimes just treat the unlicensed like they're stupid.
Yeah.
But usually, because I do speak well, when I come out here, usually they don't do that to me. They're like, oh, you obviously are educated, like why didn't you go to maritime school?
Yeah.
And like,
I get that. I've gotten that as well too. Like
exactly.
it's like they pull me to the side and be like, you know, you should be a mate. Like you should go get I've definitely heard that. So so carrying yourself on a ship matters.
Yeah, exactly. The way you carry yourself, the way you work, like your work ethic is very noticeable. People do take note of that, like the officers and stuff, and like the higher up. So like if you're gonna come out here, just be prepared to like take pride in your work, do your job, like actually show that you want to be out here and that you have a good attitude. Like attitude is everything.
Right. All right, so look, let's get to the good shit. Let's talk about that money, some money, finances. Do you budget your money?
No, I do not budget.
You do not budget. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So what I do is I just spend as little as possible. I am very frugal. I really don't enjoy spending money except on traveling, and I usually plan my trips way ahead of time so that I can get them as cheap as I can and find all the deals.
Okay.
But that's literally the only thing I splurge on. Everything else, when I go home, I literally go visit family. I'll stay with my family. I don't own an apartment or I don't have any bills except for my phone bill. So literally all my money is going into savings and going into investing.
Gotcha.
And that's the plan for like the next 4 years. And I'm just gonna ship, get my days and save.
So okay, all right, man, that's cool as fuck. So you are invested. Awesome. I don't know if it's a fair question. I don't want everybody in your thing, but like, how about a fair question? I believe to ask about investing. What are some good ideas on investing that you've heard from other people?
Well, I wouldn't like say I'm giving advice or anything, but but I just do index funds.
Okay.
Because it's like you can do, stocks and stuff like that, but an index is just more gradual over time. And then obviously I have like a Roth IRA as well that invests for me, and I use Wealthfront. That's my recommendation. The same. That's what I use. Yeah. And E-Trade. So those two, and I do the Schwab index. So
okay.
Yeah, and just put a little. I usually put like, all my money, and then every time I get another check, I just put it in there.
Yeah, and then you live in the moment. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish that at your tender young age that I would have done the same. I would have started out investing in traveling and not get things that were liabilities. Like I had one time I got a truck, and the interest rate was every bit of like between 13 and 15%.
Oh my God,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know?
that's bad.
But I wanted the truck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like my priorities, and this story is being shared because a lot of black people, we come out here and like we never had too much. So you start accumulating good money out here.
Yeah.
And the first thing you want to do is get the most expensive shit.
Yeah. Like I have family members that are like that where like we didn't have anything growing up, so the first thing they want to do when they get money is spend it all.
Right.
And for me, it's like money is not for spending; it's for security.
It is.
So that's what I enjoy about having savings and having money is the security it gives, and the ability to, if I'm in a situation that I do not like, have the finances to get myself out of it.
For sure. Versus getting in a rut and stressing and having a ball.
Exactly.
Yeah. So your spending habits. Give me a few of your spending habits outside of that. I guess it's just basically investing and traveling, huh?
Yeah, that's mainly. And then when I'm hanging out with like friends and family, which obviously is not often because I'm shipping so much, then it's like I do enjoy like taking them out to dinner, like doing an experience with them. You know, or like taking them on a cruise. Like I took my family out on a cruise. Like it's just stuff like that. Like that's the stuff I'll spend money on. Like memories, basically.
Yeah. Memories do cost. But worth it though.
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm staying with friends, because when I go home, I'll stay with family. I'll stay with friends, and then like I'll help them out, like buy stuff, and you know what I mean. So I'm not just like completely like mooching off of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I had it's a guy I listened to, 19 Keys, and he a while ago he said, black people, we will break our necks to go get in debt just to walk around an apartment naked. So, I think it's cool that you like you're not hung up on like living in, moving in with people, and
I actually had to learn how to live with other people, like because most people would rather live by themselves, but honestly I don't mind it. I grew up with 8 brothers and sisters.
Nice.
I'm used to living around a lot of people, so it doesn't really bother me. I actually prefer to be around other people all the time if I can.
In these days and times, you're like an awesome house guest, because you're not broke.
I'll help out, and then I'll also like make sure I keep everything clean. I'll like come in and do their dishes. Like, you just gotta be a good house guest.
There you
they'll
go.
like always want you back.
There you go, people. Y'all listen, man. Take notes, cause that's spot on. If you really want to save some money, roommates. Not having a whole lot of overheads and debt. Debt can be over a high interest vehicle. An apartment you only spend 6 months in. If that.
I've only been home for like the last 2 years. The longest time I've been home is like 3 weeks.
Wow.
At a time. Most of the time it's like a week or like a couple of days. Like before I came out here, it was only a couple of days home. So that's why, it doesn't really make sense for me to get an apartment.
What's the pros of the job? I'm pretty sure the last interview we went over the cons, but like, what's the pros of working being an oiler on the ship?
Well, oilers they don't do as much cleaning as like when entry level is a wiper. Oiler is the second step up, so we don't do as much cleaning. Our job is mostly just to take the numbers on like the engine and all the supporting systems of the engine, and just make sure everything is running the way it should be. There's nothing out of place, or because we do it every day, every morning, or whenever we do our round, we do it every day. So then we're supposed to be able to spot when there's something out of not aligned. So then we're supposed to report it. So that's basically our job, our main job, and then that's what we do in the mornings is our rounds, and then after lunch, then we'll do whatever they assign us to do. So it's like maintenance work, could be like cleaning a little bit, like, but we're technically not. In most contracts, you're not really supposed to do more than 4 hours of cleaning a day. So definitely, if you're an oiler, check that and make sure that you are not doing more than 4 hours a day.
Learn the contract.
Yeah, learn the contract.
Read the contract.
Yeah, make sure you know what your job description is.
Yeah.
And that they are actually doing it.
Mm-hmm. So we got a CIO, something?
COI.
COI.
Mm-hmm.
We got a COI coming, and Danielle shared with me her experience of dealing with the Coast Guard. So can you kind of go into that? Give some like tips on dealing with the Coast Guard, and definitely elaborate on not memorizing all the rules that need to be thought to be remembered. You can also
so they will stop, like the Coast Guard will come through on the COI and stop random people and ask them questions about the ship, or ask them like general questions like what's the general alarm versus what's the abandoned ship alarm. And if you don't know the answer, you can usually say where you can find the answer. Say, I don't know that, but I know where to find it. And if you can say exactly where to find it, then they're usually okay with that.
Right.
So that is a good tip to know for a Coast Guard inspection or a COI.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. When you going through the process of schooling, they definitely jam a lot of information, and some of it you have to retain, some of it's just basically knowing where to find it at. To dumb it down for you guys on your way out here, everything is on the bridge. If you're working on deck, everything is in the galley. If you work in the galley, and everything is in the cargo
ECR. Engine control room.
Engine control room. You can find all that stuff there, and it's as simple as going to the table of contents. Just know where to find, because it's a ton of books down there. You just need to know where what's in those books. And then you go to the table of contents, find what you're looking for. Boom. That's how you be a great sailor.
Yes.
So this is the end of it, and as always, man, thank you for giving me your time.
No problem.
Yeah, man, if you want to give a shout out, go give a shout out, man.
Shout out.
Yeah, give somebody, hey, my best friend, such and such, my home girl, and shit, whatever you want to do.
Oh, Jamaica. Yeah, my home girl. Shout out.
All right, man, click the like button. What else? What do they say? They always say the same thing.
Subscribe.
Subscribe, hit the like button. Thank y'all. Later.